What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo. Well, we're getting ready to get into another episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's Sistas. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit and that's going down, alright? So we're here for a brand new season number 7 of Tyler Perry's Sistas, and this brand new episode number 1, titled New Beginnings. Now, the synopsis for this episode states: new romances and old tensions collide as we check in on the lives of Andi, Karen, Danni, Sabrina, and Fatima 3 months later. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this thing, man. So we kicked this one off with Danni. Now, in the previous season, the last episode of season 6, we saw where Danni was, coming out to her car out in the parking lot. She noticed the broken glass on the ground, and I was like, oh shit, like what's really going on? So a dude comes up from behind, he grabs her, and then all of a sudden we see her wake up. Now, it's crazy because outside of the bad green screen in the background and I'm sorry. I'm just saying it was awful. But anyhow, we obviously knew that something was going on. It was a dream, and I'm glad it was a dream. But we find out that, she's waking up in the good hands of Tony, right? So Tony is there. He's lying in bed with her. He wakes up with her, like, babe, what's going on? And of course, Danny is like, look, I'm good. It's nothing. It was just another dream. And Tony's like, look, it could be more than that. And she was like, what do you mean? He was like, dreams can tell a lot about a person and what that person is going through. Even though they're asleep, their body is still trying to deal with it in some sort of way. So it puts it out in a dream. So, Tony suggests that she goes to, talk to somebody about it, right? And of course, Danny is like, look, Tony, I'm not crazy. I don't need to go seek no help, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, look, you don't necessarily have to be crazy out your mind to go seek help. It's all right to talk through your pain. And like I stated before, Andi is not Andi, damn, she needs to go too. But Danny needs to sit down with someone and deal with the trauma that she's dealt with, with the abuse and all of those. Everything that she's gone through, she needs to work through those things, and then she will be able to focus on her future. But until she can get that past out of the way, everything in front of her will just be cloudy. It's not going to be clear. Anyhow, moving on from there, we head over to Andi's. Now, we see her and Jordan. Now, I don't know about this new Jordan, y'all. I don't know. But anyhow, he's here. So we're going to deal with him, right? So Jordan is like, look, he's a little nervous about Penelope and all of that, seeing her for the first time. Obviously, they ain't seen each other for a minute. So anyhow, while they're talking, in walks Penelope and Gary. I was like, what the hell? Like, I knew they were going to get back together, but I was like, I didn't know this soon. Like, for real, you just going to pop off in my elevator that you bought me and you just going to show up like that? Like, for real? Like, you going to do it like that? Oh, okay, well, I guess you here. But anyhow, next we see Pam and Karen. Now, Pam is walking through Karen's new salon, informing her followers of what's to come. So she's showing off, all of their progress or whatnot. And, Karen is doing all the work. Pam is simply walking around the salon, ain't picked up now box, nor broom, no nothing, just herself and her cell phone. And I'm like, daggone, like, at least help old girl out. So she finally comes over, and is like, look, you're doing a little bit too much. You need to calm down. Put that down. And then she throws down the box. And did y'all notice that? She was throwing boxes left and right. So anyhow, she was like, no, you need to take care of little Pam Misha or Pam Monte? Something like that. And I was like, what the hell? What type of name is that? Pam Monte. So anyhow, Pam brings up the fact that, we need to go ahead and get all of this together since the last contractor ghosted her. And I was like, who we talking about? We talking about Brother Brian. And I'm like, see, I knew someone right. And see, Karen has to clarify what went down. She's like, look, Brian was having marital problems. with his wife, so he had to step away. That's the word on the street. And then Pam was like, well, maybe you were the problem, because once his wife found out that he was spending so much time with you over here and he was starting to feel a little bit here for you, then maybe you were the problem. And Karen is trying to brush it off. She was like, look, I ain't worried about no married man. And you're right. You may not have been worried about no married man, but he was worried about you a little bit more than what he was supposed to be concerned and worried about you. See, I said something when I said it. I had something in my spirit when I said it the first time. When I said it, I said, something don't feel right, and I knew it wasn't right. But we'll see later on what it comes out to be, man. But anyhow, going on from there. Next, we head over to Zack and Fatima's. Now, I'm going to tell y'all in this episode right here, I got a little bored with Zack and Fatima until the end, of course, and we'll get to that. But I'm just saying, it was a little dull. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and deal with this in one spot because there's not much to talk about. Essentially, Zack is upset about Michael not being with him. We find out that Michael is actually in the custody of a foster family due to everything that went down between he and Heather. We also found out that Heather actually called the police on him when he went over there. He and Fatima went over there, found him in the bathtub, tied up. They took him from her place. So, of course, she called the police. So I'm assuming from that point, that's when everything went down the line. Fatima's like, look, we need to just wait on the attorneys to do what they need to do. It's a long process. It's a slow process. But if you want to get Michael back, Zack, you're going to have to do what they're asking you to do. You ended up calling Andi, saying some crazy shit, talking about, look, we just need to set her up. We need to hire a PI. Even Fatima was like, hell, like what? Like, for real? That's your idea? Like, no, we're not going to do that. Andi's like, what? No, we're not going to do that. Anyhow, like I said, it pretty much was that until the end of the episode. And we'll talk about that when we get to that point. But that was pretty much the whole storyline for Zack and Fatima, right? So going on from there, we head over to the bank to see Sabrina setting up her office. Now, I do believe it's nighttime, so I'm not for certain why she's out there late at night setting up her office. Maybe that's just the best time she had. Maybe she had to go to work earlier that day and then decided to come over to the new location to set up, right? So anyhow, while she's at the office, she receives a phone call from Maurice. Of course, he's still feeling some type of way because it's been 3 months. He's still unemployed technically, but, due to his, entrepreneurship, he got a little bit of something working out on the side. So Sabrina's like, look, you good. You're going to find something. Woo, woo, woo. Long story short, she was like, so what you getting into tonight? Are you and Calvin going to head out? Y'all going to hit them streets? He was like, oh, I must have forgot to tell you. She was like, what you forgot to tell me? He was like, oh, Calvin moved out with a white chick. She was like, what? Man, these sisters, man. Oh, man. So you didn't have time for Calvin. And I'm glad Maurice said that. Maurice was like, look, I'm glad that he's gone. I'm glad that he decided to go out here with this white woman that accepted him for what he was. If he wanted to go out there and do what he do, then allow him to do what he do and be himself, right? And she accepted him for who he was. Now, Sabrina really liked Calvin, but she just could not get down with what he was getting down with. Which brings me to this. I don't see why she's so daggone upset about Calvin not speaking to her or telling her bye. Like, I thought y'all were over it. As a matter of fact, we did not even see Calvin the last 2 to 3 episodes of last season. So I thought it was over. It was done. Like, it was closed. The door was closed on it, Sabrina. But obviously, you were not ready to let it go. So if that was the case, you should have stuck it out with Calvin and worked through those things when he was by your side. See, I put you and Danni in the same daggone. As a matter of fact, you need to go see the same therapist that she needs to go see. So anyhow, moving on from there, we head back over to Andi's, all right? Hey, did y'all notice how Andi was staring Gary down? It made me feel uncomfortable. I was like, hold on, what we doing? Like, don't you see my girl here? Don't you see your man there? Like, what we doing? Like, you making me uncomfortable right now, Andi. But anyhow, So the tension in the room was crazy. It was mad crazy. It was crazy hot. And I'm saying that because it was an uncomfortable conversation. And that's why I was suggesting in my previous episodes, like, if I was Penelope, I would have never gone back to Gary, because it would be hard for me to work with Gary, deal with Gary, and then my brother over here is down with Andi, and I'm going to have to see Andi at some point in time, and maybe that's why they haven't seen one another in quite a while, because they're trying to work through those differences, and now all of a sudden we meet face to face, and damn it, it's still hot. And it's been daggone 3 months. And all I'm saying is, look, if we're going to have the conversation, let's have the daggone conversation, which I'm glad they actually get into. But before we get there, this whole situation with Jordan and Gary, it was strange. It was totally strange, right? Because we see Jordan trying to tell Gary about a 2017 bottle of Chardonnay that he and Andi had picked up. And Gary's like, look, I don't care. I don't even have to try none of that. Like, all I need to do is stay rich, stay black, and die. And I was like, damn. Yeah, you're going to do both of them. You're going to stay black, and you definitely going to die, my brother. I don't care how rich you are. You're going to do all of the above. But anyhow, Gary's like, look, Penelope, he know I'm playing. Like, it's jokes. We joking right here. No, you wasn't joking, my brother. You wasn't joking at all. And Gary's like, look, no, I'm actually going to drink a little bit of sparkling water as well, because, tonight I'm driving this precious cargo. And, Jordan, you wouldn't want nothing to happen to your sweet sister or your unborn nephew, right? And both Jordan and Andi are looking at him like, what the hell you mean? Like, and I'm taking it the same daggone way, because I'm like, are you throwing out threats right now, my brother? And this is what I'm saying about this Jordan right here. I just don't feel it from this Jordan. Like, he ain't giving me no, like, I'm about to take care of my business right now. He giving me, like, I'm going to let Andi handle it real quick type of business. Now, not to say he ain't going to get down type of person, but I just don't receive that type of energy from him right now. But anyhow, moving on from there, Andi hands Gary a glass so he can pour some water into it. Gary's like, wow, like, Andi, like, when did you become so hospitable? Like, when we were together, you know what I'm saying? You weren't that type of woman. And Andi's like, look, being with this dude right here, he brings a lot out of me. And I was like, shit, y'all not going to be doing this all daggone night. And I mean, it just became crazy. And Andi and Jordan putting on, and Penelope is smiling. Everybody's happy except for Gary. Like, he got that look on his face like, I can't stand that fool over there. But anyhow, Gary has had enough. So he's like, look, Andi, why are we really here? Because this ain't you. You've never been this hospitable. Like, you just putting on right now. Like, you ain't concerned about her pregnancy. You ain't concerned about none of this shit right here. Why are we here? So, long story short, no, let me get to that later. Let me go over here and deal with Sabrina and Maurice. So Sabrina is like, she's so distraught right now. Like, she just torn up because she didn't get to close that door with Calvin, even though I thought it was closed a long time ago. When the situation happened, when they were in the bedroom and she just couldn't go any further, I thought that was the end. So Maurice goes on to convey to her what Calvin stated. He pretty much told Maurice that he could not see her in person because it would hinder him from going to where he really needed to go. And she was like, he said that? He was like, yeah. Like, he was a good dude, but you couldn't see him for what he was. So you lost him, right? He's moved on, so it's best for you to move on. But enough about him. When are you going to find your happiness? And I was like, uh-oh. As soon as I heard it, I was like, uh-oh. And as soon as he asked that question, in walks Brother Rich. Now, when he walks in and I see the way that Sabrina is looking at that brother, all I could think about was that song by Lauryn Hill where she says, pardon the way that I stare, there's nothing else to compare. The sight of you leaves me weak There are no words left to speak, but if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Man, that's my dad. That's my jam, man. That's me and my wife's song, man. Like, listen, when you found somebody that you love and that you strongly like, I ain't talking about that Gary type shit. I'm talking about that shit like when you find that person where you can't take your eyes off of them and you said, I love you, baby. And if that's quite all right, I need you, baby, to warm the lonely nights. I love you, baby. Trust in me when I say, oh, pretty baby, don't bring me down, I pray. Like those words right there. And I'm getting off right here, but that song is fantastic. It just went with the show. All right, they could have played that song right there, and I would have been done for the night. You heard me. But anyhow, moving on from there, we head back over to see Zack and Fatima, and I told y'all I wasn't really going to deal with that because he's still feeling the same damn way at the same damn time as he was the whole damn show. All right, so moving on from there, we head back over to see Danni. Now, we see Danni and Tony, they still having this conversation and discussion about a therapist. Now, Danni is deflecting. Like she really don't want to get in the conversation. She really don't want to have the conversation, but Tony isn't allowing her to get away from it, which is good. And if you care about somebody, you need to let them know, like, no, I'm here with you, but I'm also in this with you. And when you're not good, we're not good, right? So I don't know a lot about Tony. We don't know a lot about Tony, but what we see at this point is that he truly cares about Danni from what we can see, because we know some other stuff gonna come out later on. So we're gonna deal with that later when it comes out. But for right now, on episode number 1, New Beginnings, we see that it's fresh and it's good, right? So anyhow, going on from there, we head back over to the bank where we see Sabrina telling Maurice that something just came up and she got to get off the phone. Now, Rich has brought her a bouquet of flowers and he tells her, you know, she's so beautiful. Of course, Sabrina feels some type of way about it. And he was like, oh, you ain't get that enough. So I'm going to have to do my job to make sure that you feel that way. And I'm like, damn right. It is my job as the man to make my woman feel like she's the best thing in the world. You see what I'm saying? The best thing. I don't care if your hair ain't done. You still the best thing. If you my woman. And all I could think about once again, like Sabrina got me singing tonight. Brown skin. You know I love your brown skin. Need some every now and then. Like, shit. Like, Sabrina, you got me singing tonight, girl. Oh, I hope y'all enjoying this recap right now, man, because I'm enjoying it tonight. So we head back over to the hair salon, Karen's new salon, and Sister Pam is like, look, we doing a little bit too much work. You see what I'm saying? Maybe you need to call one of your guy friends, you know, either Aaron or Zack. One of them will come over. Karen is like, look, so you want me to call Zack over here and, you know, Fatima going to be jealous and then, you know, she going to put them hands on Zack. She was like, okay, well, you know, he'll come over here if he knows you need help. Or you could just call Aaron. She was like, look, I don't want nothing to do with that. And then she also tells Pam that, look, I'm not really concerned about what Zack going on. Like, we know that's a lie too, Karen. Don't start lying now. I'm with you when you're right. But don't start lying. We're not going to do that right now. We're not going to start this season off with a lie. All right? Anyhow, going on from there, we head over to Andi and the crew. So we head back over to the penthouse where we see Andi trying to convey her thoughts and tell, you know, Gary, because Gary is bothered. He really wants to know why in the hell did you invite us over here, because you're not sincere about why you had us over here. So she was like, look, Jordan really wanted to invite both of y'all over here so he could see his sister. He was missing his sister Penelope, and he really wanted to see her, you know? And it's like, look, but I'm going to be honest at the same time, though. I did have an agenda. And he was like, yeah, let's hit that agenda. And she's like, look, let's put away, you know, the past. And Gary's like, so you mean to tell me that You weren't trying to come between me and my lady friend here, me and my honey boo, my honey drop here. And it's like, no, I'm unbothered at this point. Like, I got a man right here, he my soulmate. He filling me up in my soul, my spirit, my plate, and everywhere else in between. And I was like, damn, Gary. I said, you can't win, bro. You losing right now. And Penelope is feeling it. She's feeling the frustration. She's feeling the tension in the room. And she really doesn't know what to do with it. So anyhow, while they're in the midst of their conversation, Andi receives a phone call from Fatima, which is Zack and Fatima trying to, clarify some stuff, what he needs to do. Anyhow, getting back to the subject at hand, though, Andi returns to the conversation and she was like, look, let's go ahead and get some shit straight. Let's clear the air. And Gary removes his arm from around the shoulders of his wife to be Penelope. And he removes it so hard that his wife falls backwards. Falls backwards enough to cause a little subtle pain within herself, right? And Gary pays no attention because his main focus right now is Andi. Because that's who he's trying to get to. Bump Penelope, the girl that he strongly likes. You see what I'm saying? I strongly like her, but I ain't trying to marry her for real. See that woman right there. So anyhow, going back to the discussion at hand, Andi is like, I'm good. Like, I don't want nothing from you. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Gary's like, so I'm supposed to believe that you're not holding any feelings against us or specifically against me? And she was like, no, not at all. Essentially, Jordan feels so many other things. Man, you losing, you losing all the way around, man. So Jordan's like, yeah, that's right. Potentially, you could be looking at, Atlanta's first lady. And Penelope is like, hold on, wait a minute. Now, like, we know that you're doing city council right now, but are you already setting your sights on the mayor? Like, to become mayor of Atlanta? And he was like, yeah. And all of a sudden, out of no daggone where, here comes Gary to save the day. Right? He was like, oh, no. Let's not downplay your brother's ambition. Like, no. So Gary has obviously found an opportunity. Like how I said, that opportunity. So he's like, yeah, let me be the first one to donate to your campaign. And he was like, no, you don't have to do all of that. But this joker is like, go ahead and check it out. So he's already sent over $100,000 to this brother's campaign. Penelope is like, oh, Gary, you didn't have to do that. Andi is like, yeah, you definitely did not have to do that. And she was like, no, you've been a little too generous right now. And of course, Jordan ain't thinking, he ain't paying it no mind. But Andy's like, no, if he's giving you this amount of money right now, he really wants to use you in some type of way or get something from you, right? You just don't know it's in your bathroom, Andi. But we'll get there in a moment. So anyhow, back at Danny's, we see Tony going off to the bathroom to make a phone call, which later on that night, we see Tony getting ready to leave. Danny's like, look, where you going? Like, you've been in that bathroom a long time. Are you in there defecating or whatnot? He was like, no, I'm good. He comes out fully clothed. He gets ready to leave. She was like, no, I thought you were getting ready to take care of me or whatnot. He was like, no, I got you. Stay warm. I'll be back later on. When he's getting ready to walk out the room, in walks Sabrina from outside. She was like, hold on, wait a minute, what's going on here? So obviously Tony went to the bathroom to call Sabrina to come over to talk some sense into Danny. And of course, we know that because of what she says directly to Danny about her dreams, right? So anyhow, going on from there, we head back over to Zack and Fatima's crib. Now, Zack is still feeling some type of way about the whole Michael issue. And, Fatima is simply going to have to allow Zack to deal with this within himself. First and foremost, he's going through this because he knows what it feels like to feel isolated, not being loved, not being cared for, being mistreated. And all of these things are coming up from his past due to the relationship that he had with his mother. So he really wants to be there to protect Michael. He doesn't know what's going on with him. He doesn't know what these people are doing to him. All he can focus on right now is getting him there at his crib with he and Fatima so they can make sure that he's okay. I get it. Now, let's get to a good part about Zack and Fatima. They're there for one another. They're in this together with one another, which is good because I love to see black love, strong black love, supportive black love, all the way around, right? So going on from there, all day, Zack has been like, look, I love your support. I love you being here for me, but I really don't need to make these phone calls. Like, there's some other things on my mind that could really get my mind focused. And I'm right there with you, my brother. Like, go ahead and take care of your business. So finally, Fatima is ready to get it going. Her motor is ready to go. So she was like, look, I'm going to go ahead and head upstairs. Don't let me wait too long. So anyhow, Zack goes to looking at his phone or whatnot. I'm assuming he was watching, a video or looking at some pictures of Michael or whatnot. And then all of a sudden he hears this buzzing going on upstairs. And he was like, oh, hell no. Like she already done started. It's all right for a little pregame. Because trust and believe, when I get upstairs, it's going down. And since we already talking about going down, let's go ahead and head back over to Andi's crib where we see Penelope and Jordan. They sharing all these stories from the past and shit. And Andi is looking off towards the side because remember, Gary got up talking about he needed to go to the bathroom. Andi was trying to give this man some directions and he was like, I know where I'm going. Like, I bought it. Like, yeah, he bought it. He know exactly where to go. But anyhow, he goes off to the bathroom. So Penelope is like, shit, he been gone a long time. Like, is he all right? And they were having a whole conversation, and then all of a sudden someone mentioned the word devil, and that just kindled something in Andi's mind. And it's crazy because when they said devil, she just immediately thought about Gary. So I was like, oh shit. So anyhow, Penelope gets up, and while he's still in the room, he's walking around, he's upset, murmuring around, talking about Andi this, like she's ungrateful, this and all of this stuff in my penthouse and all of this. So he's walking around and then he notices her clothing and all of that. And then he sees her dresser drawer and he goes to the panty drawer. And I was like, hell no, what you about to do, bro? He starts to sniff. I was like, hell no. So Penelope is on her way. She comes towards the room. Before she gets there, she was like, Andi, where's the bathroom? She was like, you need me to go? She was like, no, I got it. So she heads towards that direction. Gary, about time we see Gary again, he's moving in motion. Use your imagination, people. He got the motion going, right? One hand salute, right? So he's at it. He's sniffing in the other hand with the other hand close to his nostrils. And I was like, hell no, bro. This is what we doing, Gary. So anyhow, I can't even get it out. So anyhow, Penelope walks in the room. Oh my goodness. What are you doing? And that's a good movie, by the way, Coming to America. But anyhow, Penelope walks in on Gary pleasuring himself while smelling Andi's panties. And I was like, hell to the no, bro. Like, this is how it's going down. This is how this episode is going to end. And he was like, look, it ain't what you thought. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Let me get myself together. Oh, my gosh. Like, I need to put this on video. I'm almost ready to go on there, man. As soon as I get 1,000 subscribers, I'm definitely going live so we can have this face-to-face conversation virtually, right? Man, I wish y'all could see me right now, man. I'm in tears because this brother is going to stand here face to face, 10 toes down, and tell Penelope it isn't what she thought. I was like, bro, oh my gosh. But anyhow, that's how the episode ends. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so y'all don't miss shit and that's going down right here. By the way, Sunday night, new throwback movie recap, review going down right here on this platform. I'm going to start throwing out some clues starting tomorrow about that potential movie. Also, tomorrow night, Thursday night, I got 2 brand new episode breakdowns of the Miss Pat Show episodes 3 and 4 for season 3. If you don't know, if you have yet to see that show, it is hilarious. It's a little raunchy, but it is hilarious, right? It's comical. So for those of you who are familiar with that show, I hope that you will come back tomorrow night and check that out. With that being said, man, the brother is about to get up out of here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.